foster boy. Let's give it a hand. My name is Youssef Delara, and I'm the communications director for the Pan-African Film Festival, and I'm so excited to introduce Peter Samuelson. We've been talking for a whole month. We just met, and I'm so excited. Peter?
The world's best publicist. You ever need a publicist? Melissa is it.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I hereby remove all the reserved signs. If you want a better seat, and you can find one that says reserved, that doesn't have a body in it, go sit in it. Make yourself happy. No more reserved seats. Use them up. And I'm only holding this for one moment because Jay Deratany, who wrote this autobiographical script, is going to be here any moment. I see Matthew Modine is in the house. And Shane Paul McGhie, I hope, is about to come in any second. And here is Jay Deratany, who is going to say a few words to introduce the film. And he should know because he wrote it, and it is autobiographical.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry I was late. I went to the other end of Martin Luther King Boulevard. Is the director here? Youssef? Is he here as well? Come on down, please. First of all, I want to just start by saying thank you to the cast that's here tonight, especially Matthew and Shane. These are two individuals that worked incredibly hard on this film. They are skilled, amazing actor. Obviously, Matthew has been in, I think, over 100 films. He's had a long career. Shane was a young actor that is actually, I believe, will be one of the most amazing actors of our time. So we were blessed to have that, and also an amazing, wonderful director, Youssef Delara, who's here tonight. And this film is inspired by all of the kids who are abused in foster care every day. We can do something greater as a society. We can help prevent kids from being abused in foster care. And I hope you take that out of this. What you take out of this movie is that we can go further and do more to help kids in foster care. And I'd like to give this over to you.
Sure, I'll say something. Move over. Yes, every director wants to do a Marvel. That was the second mic. Okay. Yes, every director wants to do a Marvel movie. Yes, we want to make millions of dollars. That's true. But the core of it is we want to touch, move, and inspire people, and also inform. And it's rare to have a project come your way that allows you that opportunity. So I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to do this project, and so grateful to meet these two guys who are like total opposites, but in the core, they're the same people. The characters.
I thought we were pretty similar.
The characters.
Same music, we dress the same. This movie was the first project that I did when I graduated college, and this is like my baby. I mean, we have been, all over with this film, and 10 awards, and it means the world to me. Super grateful to be here, that this day has come, and super grateful to the kids of First Star. Oh, it's so sweet. Yeah, love you guys. So here we are, very grateful. Thank you all for being here. Could I say a word or two? All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming this evening. This is not a movie about a white man who helps an African American. It's a story about an African American who opened the eyes of a white man. And there really is no more important message
that I can think of at this moment in our country's history than to have the opportunity for a man to become woke. So I thank my fellow conspirators for financing and writing and directing and having the pleasure of working with a bright new young star. And yes, sir. Yes. And I hope you enjoyed the movie. I love all of you. I really do. You don't believe me, but I do. Are we going to have a Q&A afterward? So I look forward to speaking to you afterward. Thank you so much.
Hello. All right, guys. I want to present to you the team from Foster Boys. We're going to get them situated here, and you guys will have an opportunity to ask them some questions. So bear with us, and thank you for coming tonight. How'd you guys enjoy it? Real touching story, right?
Oh, it's deep.
Okay, let's give it to our star man right here too.
Lex, get down here. Lex, where's Lex?
Yeah, come on down, Lex. We're gonna make them come get you.
Really?
Why is it down low? We got plenty. Thanks so much.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants to start with a question? Anybody from the audience? We'd love to hear questions.
Drop dead.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, everyone's performance was absolutely amazing. Was this based on true events, or was this something that just, like a story that you felt needed to be told?
Was it based on true events, or was it a story you made up?
No, it's based upon three cases that I handled as a lawyer, and that, yeah, based on true events. Very, very close to the truth.
Very, wow.
In terms of doing a film that has a purpose, I feel like there's a visual issue with foster care, so
Here, we have too many. You take it.
Yeah.
what would you say for the audience to walk away with? Because I feel like this is such an overwhelming issue in terms of foster care and the foster care system. What can we do as viewers to make a difference beyond foster care? Because I feel like it's a huge system. I've worked in pharmaceutical sales.
Yeah.
I know that whole business is such a huge business in terms of fighting the corruption. So
Yeah.
in terms of foster care, what can we do as viewers and people and churches and organizations that need to be passionate about making a difference for these foster care?
What can we all do to do better for 500,000 American kids in foster care? The first thing is go to fosterboy.com. Fosterboy.com, it's got all the stuff you would imagine about a film, but what it's also got is all the advocacy stuff. Facts, stats, experts, gives you opportunities to you might want to be a foster parent. Click here, put your zip code in. We'll introduce you to where they recruit foster parents. Same thing, adoption. You're a lawyer. You might want to get trained up to represent foster kids who in half this country get no lawyer. We'd love that. Put your zip code in. You want to lobby your member of Congress? We have 2 agenda items for this film. One is we would like to abolish for-profit foster care. It started... It's like privatized prisons. They should go away too. It's disgusting. So there's a Senate committee, even in these polarized times, that has been looking into this and that has done research to show that privatized foster care, the outcomes are much, much worse than when foster care is run either by the government itself, local government, or by a non-profit. So the first thing would be to put them out of business, go make a buck somewhere else, leave the kids alone.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, in a different half of this country, foster kids go to court. The whole hearing is about their future. They are the only human being in the room who either isn't a lawyer or doesn't have a lawyer. And that's insane. We give lawyers to everybody. You know, convicted criminals, the whole thing. Foster kids, half the country don't get a lawyer. We would like to change that. So we have a whole agenda, but your best place to go is fosterboy.com. This is what we call a double bottom line film. We'd love it to have a great big audience, but we'd also love it to change public policy.
Sir. Jordan Belfi, please join us, please. Bad guy lawyer, come, please.
Jon Snow,
Come on.
anybody who was in the cast.
Come on down, you guys. These are the bad guys. They don't want to like you. Yeah. They're the sweetest people.
Do not throw anything at them.
They're not those people.
It's only a film.
It's too kind of
She's the sweetest, by the way.
I'm surrounded by the evil characters. Okay. Who else got a question?
Up here.
Okay.
Whatever happened to Belcourt and Miss Dupree?
Jay, you should talk about it.
Well, the real story is that Belcourt is not their real name, surprisingly, but they still exist, and they're in about 20-some states, and there's for-profit foster care that continues to exist, and we have to fight against it. And it's run by 11 guys in New York City who make billions on children being widgets, basically kids being the product, and kids aren't products. You know, that's the big problem. So yeah, they continue to exist, and in Illinois, in Ohio, California, Wisconsin, some of these other states, there's been multiple states where there's contracts of $30, $50, $60 million for privatized foster care. So we got to fight back.
Jay is too modest. In one of the states where he litigated, the for-profit foster care agency was kicked out of the state.
Oh, good.
We really kind of have to give a nod to, like, you know, we're all artists and we're filmmakers, we're actors, but for Jay to have pushed this project, to have put a lot of the money of this project together, and to put this kind of message out, I think we should definitely like applaud people like him who do these movies and not just something for profit. So that's a big deal.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I wanted to say writers, producers, directors, cast, tech, crew, thank you all for the grandiosity and the enormousness. I don't need it. I'm a trained artist. Of the talent and the courageousness that you took to bring this magnificent work of art activism to life. I call it art activism because too many times today we have art that's fluff, it's for sensationalism, and it doesn't have any jurisprudence of touching the whole person and the heart and the soul of what can make us all recognize that we are humans and that we should respect and acknowledge each other as so. This is a magnificent demonstration of what talent, determination, and art can do to making the world a better place. So that was the first thing that I wanted to say, to acknowledge all of you. You are all absolutely incredible, incredulous people with an enormity of talent and wisdom and heart. So that was number one. Number two, I wanted to say 2 African quotes that will apply to, hopefully, your promoting this great piece of work. The first quote is an African proverb, and it says, "It doesn't matter if the melon is pushed onto the knife or the knife is thrust into the melon. The melon is still the victim." You talked about victimization in a way that we all were just touched endlessly. And so that's what we must continue doing now to the next step, which is to make it more activist-oriented. The other quote, and the last thing, and I will sit down, is that the next quote is an African quote as well. And it says, "An empty sack cannot stand, but a full stack cannot bend." Thank you all for bending and standing for this Herculean process of discovering what work we must do. Thank you so much.
And can I just say one more African proverb from the top of Africa all the way down to South Africa in the local language: takes a village to raise a child. And that's completely true. This is, in a way, the last great civil rights struggle that never had a beginning, because it's children, it's kept secret, mostly to protect the adults, and it's time we kind of blew that up and did something differently. And I thought of one more thing to the lady over there. What can we do? VOTE.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is more so for the director. They say a story is usually retold 3 times before it actually comes to screen. So how closely did your creativity, your creative eye, align with the actual script that was written?
That's a loaded question, man. Well, no, I mean, when you read a script, you get a feeling, right? So upon the earlier meetings when I met with Jay, my job as a director is to give him like the feeling that the script evokes and how I would tell it. So, that's sort of like the first step. So I did enough in the moment where Jay decided to hire me, so we're moving forward. But I saw
He's
it
tough as hell.
I saw it as like a thriller, right? Because I didn't see it as much as a drama as a thriller, because I wanted you to feel a sense of doom and dread, and I wanted it to be kind of edgy, right? Because I thought that would land a little bit bigger. If it was just a straight drama, I felt like you wouldn't have moments to break away from the heaviness of it, because it's pretty darn heavy, right? But in that we found such great levity, because they're so different. Like, they were set up to be total, complete opposites characters. So I thought, if we make it a thriller, we create that edge, we sort of play in the levity of it,
that it could, because I love movies that sort of take you on a journey, right? Like it's like a roller coaster, right? Like you're up, you're laughing, you're crying, you're like pissed. I hate those people. I love these people. That's what cinema's about. Like that's what makes it amazing. So, yeah, I don't know. That's it. I don't have anything else. But thank you.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
did that. I want to know, Brother Host, how did you find this wonderful cast of people?
Oh, well, the casting director.
It's Robert
Is
Ulrich.
Robert up here?
Robert Ulrich, will you please stand up?
Take a bow.
He's a man. He's a man.
I have to give a big shout out because he's one of the most amazing casting directors that I've ever come across. Not that I've come across very many at all, but he literally found these people and he knew how to make an incredible cast. And they're amazing. They're really, actually, as we saw this script unfold, you can put words on a script, but when you see Matthew deliver, and when you see Julie deliver, when you see Shane deliver, when you see Lex deliver, Jordan, I mean, in Krystian, of course. I mean, am I missing anybody here? I mean, they deliver. Huh? Grant, of course, deliver. Sorry.
And of course, Lou Gossett.
And Lou
like
Gossett.
that. He killed it.
You know, they all delivered, and the director just got these amazing performances.
Yeah, Lou.
So, wow.
Lou was awesome. Lou really brought a whole, like that character that he created.
Yes, yeah.
We didn't have that. Like we had a judge who was sort of like the overseer, but he created a character, right? Talk about taking something that isn't huge but making it yours. And he's so memorable. He's got a lot of the funny lines.
So my other part of my question, I'm sorry, it's still me, is how long were you in production and stuff of this? Because I'm looking around and maybe I don't go to the movies enough or something, because I'm like, this is like a whole new cast.
Yeah, principal
Except
photography was, I think, 26 days. We did 8 weeks of prep, and we edited for about over 1 century. We're in post. There were more, but, you know, we all say, oh, digital's wonderful. Except, boy, you can do a whole lot of versions. What was that one? What was 17A? How is that different from 23B and all that kind of thing?
Let me jump in here just for a second and answer that, because the truth is that the project was actually in the works for several years before we actually started principal photography. And then the post-production actually was over a year of post-production. Lots of different changes were made and songs were brought in that weren't there originally. So the process is actually quite lengthy. And we have a team that really endured. We have a wonderful composer here who has really done an amazing job.
Kathryn Bostic.
Let me just, we also have, Anne Marie, is another producer on the movie as well. And of course, the cast who everybody can recognize, but some of the behind the scenes people you don't always see. We even have some other cast here, Melissa, who gave the final verdict from the jury. And so,
Ben's in the audience, so what?
Ben Kathryn, our
VP.
VP.
Yeah.
Fantastic director.
Take a wave.
Heck of a job, Ben. Can I say
Anyhow, I just
something
wanted to
about-
add that to the mix for everybody.
I just want to say something about Mr. Shane Paul McGhie. Robert Ulrich's casting team, they did open casting. They saw over 400 young men for this role. They screen tested over 100, and they got it down to 25 and 15 and 7, and the last 3, they were all brilliant and excellent, and Shane was just...
I thought 12. I thought 12. Yeah.
So, it's amazing. The joke is that we'll never be able to afford to work with Shane again.
Right, so let's get into the audience. We talk too much.
Yes.
This gentleman and then that lady, please, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Microphone there.
Yes, thank you. And this is a wonderful film. But my question is, in terms of this distributorship, is this going to go to DVDs, Netflix? How can we get a copy of this?
We are fighting it. We are fighting the good fight. We don't have a superhero film, you know. It's a film for intelligent viewers. And we are in the middle of getting a distributor right now. And this screening is part of that effort. Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that all of you can do, because Mr. Shaquille O'Neal has literally adopted our movie.
Oh, good.
Is that if any of you use social media, send him a note and say thank you so much for adopting Foster Boy. Foster Boy movie. And because this is a man who is not just of great stature, but is such a powerful influence. I don't feel somebody who has so much influence as Muhammad Ali. This man is loved around the world. All he wants to do is make people happy and make people smile and bring peace and love and joy to the world. And that's why he saw this film and said, I want to be a part of this, and I'm going to lend my name and lend my influence to this film. So share the love with Shaquille O'Neal. Send him a note, send him a message, and say thank you.
Hi, good evening. First of all, the movie was amazing. I loved it. It was very informative. My only question is this, is that I realize this has to do with foster children, but there are so many private religious sectors that they put kids up for adoption. I just saw one recently in New York called the Weiss Agency. And they put kids up for adoption. They separate twins, they separate triplets. What do you do about something like that?
Well, it ought to stop, shouldn't it?
No, of course, that's what we're talking about. But I'm just saying the foster system is flawed as we know it. But I'm just saying private adoption agencies, that's a problem as we know.
Yes. Well, it needs much stronger oversight from the respective state. Some of them are completely unsupervised. And a for-profit entity has reverse incentives. How many kids, you just saw it in the film, how many kids can you cram into a placement? If you put bunk beds in, you could get twice as many, right? All the incentives are upside down. They are not in the child's best interest. You can't legislate a one solution fixes all. Every child is different. What you have to do is make sure each kid gets their own client allegiant lawyer. And secondly, that they are given their voice, which so rarely happens. And thirdly, that we as the citizenry, they are actually our children. Legally, these are children who have been taken away from birth parents, and they are now wards of the court. They are, the courts are working for us, CPS are working for us. They're our kids. And even when we get it right in keeping them safe, which is a lot of the time, there is such an absence of love, of role models, of remove the glass ceiling. In First Star, what we do, which is one of the charities that partnered on the film, our students helped get the script right. Shane came down and got trained up at UCLA by our students, and so forth. What we try to do is we get court orders to let them speak, because almost all foster kids in America, the whole thing is covered in a blanket of secrecy. It's not good for the kids. It's why things are the same now as they were 100 years ago, because they have no voice.
So, before you guys ask questions, I have a question for Shane. Just I wanted him to speak. Tell us about your process for the role, and and what you had to do.
No, Youssef, you could have asked me this outside of the theater.
Well, then they would know.
Where are you going? Peter kind of touched on it. I had the opportunity to go to First Star UCLA Academy and talk to the kids about their stories. A lot of them were very brave enough to tell me about what they had endured during their time in the foster care system. It was horrible, like the worst stories that you could ever imagine. Little kids talking about having their ribs broken. I mean, anything that you can imagine. So for me, I guess having the ability to do that, thanks to you, Peter, and them, was really empowering as an artist. And to think about that, you know, in the days when it was hard, you know, if you had long hours and you're shooting and you're tired, to think that, you know, that there are kids counting on you to tell the story. There are kids who are happy that a story like theirs is going to be, you know, on screen and it's going to empower them. That really kept me going. So that was a huge part of my process.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to take a couple more questions and we'll let the guys wrap up.
Well, I thought you were phenomenal, and you were just phenomenal. The testifying scene, when you testified, you had me crying crocodile tears, seriously, and it really gripped my heart. And I would just want to know, like, how did you come to that place?
That's a great question.
Yes.
How did I come to that place? Well, I would say, for sure, everything that, you know, speaking to the kids, but I think, I mean, it just had to do with the script. And like, even though I had never lived this life, I mean, the imagination is a powerful thing, which is so cool that we get to delve into that and use it. But we used, like, I wrote those, some of those raps that we ended up using in the movie for the audition. And I remember my audition, like, I don't know, I was just in a room and something like snapped because I just felt so connected to the material for some reason. And I think it was because it was so powerful and nuanced and dynamic that it just resonated with me. But I would say the kids, grace of God, like I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely, I had hired a lyricist to write the raps. And then on the day of shooting, Shane's like, well, I kind of redid them. So I'm thinking we're going to, you know, then I looked at the page and it was like covered in notes. Like I couldn't even see where the raps were. I'm like, just go with it. Just go. You know, because part of it is like, very lucky to have worked with all of these actors. Julie, of course, I've done a couple movies with, and Jordan, of course. But Matt, what you guys have done and what you brought to the table was just phenomenal. And when an actor takes a role like that, you're like, go with it. Like this guy, that role was
I want to talk to him.
When he showed up on the set, I'm like, who shaved his head? And a wardrobe or costume was makeup was like, he did. And I'm like, go with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Shaved his head, shaved his eyebrows. Grant is.
Grant
he's
really
a
brought it.
beast. He's a beast.
Yeah. We showed the film on Saturday to 30 12th grade foster kids. And it was fantastic. And we had ABC Nightline there filming while they were watching. They cheered the verdict. You've never heard anything like it. 32,560,000. They went berserk. They actually did some booing. Sorry about that. Sorry, because your character was so believable. And at the end, one of the girls said, "What about young ladies?" I should say, said to the ABC reporter, "I'll tell you what this says to me. It is the first time in my life that I've ever felt heard. And there's another thing, which is every time I've been in a foster placement, you know, with a family, whenever they've taken a family photo, like Christmas and stuff like that, Thanksgiving, they always have me leave the frame. Wow. And this is the first time anyone has actually kind of photographed me and listened to me and valued my opinion. It's kind of huge." Wow. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Julie, I want to ask a question.
because you had a great answer before. How was it to play that role?
It was awful.
Yeah,
I know.
Great answer, I heard.
It was awful. I mean, it was so hard. As an actor, you want to bring empathy, some sort of empathy and humanity to your character. But like, I didn't want to make her too empathetic. You know, I mean, it's hard. When you judge a character before you even, you know, when you read it, I mean, she's awful. She's an awful human. It's really hard as an actor then to play that and to bring life to her. And I had the hardest time during Shane's testimony. I mean, I was crying big crocodile tears, going like, shit, I'm not supposed to be crying. So it was hard to like remind myself, like, wait, no, I'm not supposed to be feeling for him, and to have it all inside. It was really tough. I mean, it's. I would say that like the day the verdict was read, I felt like the most hated person in the room. Like everyone was just glaring at me. I'm like, I know we're acting, but still.
You know, in the mornings in the makeup trailer, you were the nicest person, and throughout the day, it was rough.
But we got that one shot where, you know, you like after it was read, you got out, and so wanted to add a little humanity. But I heard people like, yeah. I want this gentleman to talk about his process, because I want to know, like, how much are you like Michael Trainer and how much are you not? Like that guy.
I thought we were talking to you. Because I wanted to ask you a question, because how old are you now? 12 years old. So we were 9 years old. So that's the question I wanted to ask you and your mother. It was so lovely. Where's your mother? Yeah, such a lovely mother. She's so great. It's you know, for a child only 9 years on the planet, and to understand and to portray a character like that is you know what you felt when you were playing that person, and so when you have to be a child, only 9 years on the planet, to go through those emotions and have that understanding. I mean, I have great love for you and your mother, but
talk to us.
Talk to us.
Honestly, I didn't really know too much about like the foster care system at first. When I got the role, I just thought of it as like some other like character that I'm just supposed to be playing, like an all fun movie. But going deeper into the role, I learned a lot from the foster care system, and I learned about my character as well. And I learned that not everything in the foster care system is happy, and that a lot of families use children for profit, and they look at them like products. And that a lot of the foster families use children as just like toys, or just basically just toys. And then the children look at themselves like if they did something wrong, or if they're just not loved. And playing this character was very hard when I learned about the foster care system. And watching this movie was very hard too. I watched this movie 3 times and I cried all 3 of them. It was really hard to watch. I just want justice, and I just want the children to have hope.
Now to answer your question, because this answers the question. This gentleman who got up and spoke so beautifully and eloquently, thank you very much. We're in this amazing profession of telling stories, and what we're doing here it's like a big campfire, a bunch of cavemen sitting around, and somebody had the ability to tell a good story about catching a lion or knocking down a deer. And they caught the imagination of those people that were listening.
So, and then when you look back in time and you see those great amphitheaters where people came and told stories, and what those stories had the ability to do was to what those stories had the ability to do was to shine light into dark recesses of our society and help us to open our hearts and to see the other, to see that we're all brothers and sisters, and see what cruelty looks like, and see what bigotry looks like, see what sexism looks like. And through these stories that we tell, we open our hearts up, and to be able to, as Atticus Finch says in To Kill a Mockingbird, that we never truly understand another person until we get inside their skin and move around in it. That's what we do. That's what these gentlemen and these ladies did, is they got inside the character of these people that they were portraying and shared those stories with us, so that we can now watch it on a movie screen and say, that's horrible, and that's something that we have to do something to stop that suffering and stop that pain. And we're all changed, and we're all witness now to that kind of pain, and we must not let that kind of stuff continue in our lives. And that's why I love this profession that I'm a part of. And I thank Jay for writing it. The courage that, as a lawyer, he has to look at photographs of children that have been horribly mutilated and harmed, and the things that, the kind of post-traumatic stress as a lawyer that he has to go through. I couldn't do that job. And you know, the producers who all came together to tell the story, the beautiful music that you wrote. The music is the most powerful thing in the world. The music helps to touch our heart and help to tell the story in a way that you take the music out of any film and it's a different movie. So thank you, sister. Thank you for writing that music. And I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right,
just go with it.
Okay, we'll take one more, and it's from that woman right there.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I don't need that. Hi, my name is Roxine Farrington, and I just wanted to share with everyone that not all foster care experiences are really bad, and I'm so glad this was made so that people, these children, do have a voice. My parents were foster parents for probably 40 years. Me, my older sister, and older brother were adopted by them. We were foster kids first. I was adopted very, very young. But there was this core 7 of us that grew up together. You talked about the young lady in the photograph that didn't get... My father was a supervisor at this work, and they did a piece on him because they had these foster kids, and we looked like the Addams Family, I swear to God. We're all so different heights and colors and whatever, you know. So just know that there are people out there. That money thing, it wasn't about the money, because we all got Christmas.
Yeah, remember the Randolphs. The Randolphs are a loving, caring family.
Yes.
You took in dozens of foster kids and loved them.
It's amazing how many good families there are. Now, to the contrary of that, my brother and sister that were my foster sisters and brother all my life, when they came to us, the system, my parents didn't have enough room to take their other 2 brothers. So they didn't come to us. Their experience was totally different. Again, no Christmas, no birthdays, the whole bit. So the struggle is real. I'm just so happy that this is here. Happy to see that Shane Paul McGhie is doing what he's doing. And just want to say you guys were all very, very good. It was an excellent story, and just really proud to see that somebody's out there.
Tell your friends, please.